Destroy All Monsters and Godzilla Final Wars are two of the biggest Godzilla movies ever made, being the two big conclusions to Godzilla. In 1968, Toho wanted to end the Godzilla universe by teaming up all the monsters and making them fight King Ghidorah, with the film having 11 monsters in total. In 2004, Toho wanted to celebrate Godzilla's 50th anniversary with an epic clash of Godzilla battling against many more monsters, with a total of 14 monsters. But what if the two teams fought against each other? In this video, we will have one monster from each side fight another with similar qualities and see which team would win. And before I forget, credits to Kaiju King for the thumbnail and link in the description for his channel. Anyway, welcome to... Before we can clash the monsters together, we need the teams. Now, we will only be using monsters that were actually used in the films, so no stock footage ones. Here are the teams. For Team Destroy All Monsters, we have Godzilla, Rodan, Anguirus, Gorosaurus, and King Ghidorah. And for Team Final Wars, we have Godzilla, Rodan, Anguirus, Zilla, and Kaiser Ghidorah. With 5 monsters on both sides and same looking characteristics, let's make the monsters fight. But let's go over the rules first. Every monster will be given their own abilities, like Godzilla keeps his atomic breath and Gorosaurus keeps his kangaroo kick. The monsters will also be able to change to the same height as their counterparts. So if Godzilla 68 is shorter than Final Wars, they'll be sized up to where they're the same size. Now, let's get to the battles themselves. First, we have Godzilla 68 versus Godzilla Final Wars. Then we have Rodan versus Rodan, Anguirus versus Anguirus, Gorosaurus versus Zilla, and King Ghidorah versus Kaiser Ghidorah. After each battle, the winning team will be given a point, and by the end, we'll have a winner. First up, we got Rodan versus Rodan. First, let's go over the stats for each monster. First, we'll go over Rodan from Final Wars. Rodan is able to fly at supersonic speed, Mach 3, and being able to destroy buildings and aircraft just by flying over them, like Rodan from King of the Monsters. For weaknesses, he isn't given enough screen time to be able to determine any, but he was knocked out of the sky by Anguirus. Next is Rodan from Destroy All Monsters, and with this one, we actually have more info. For his speed, he can fly at a speed of Mach 1.5, which is 1.5 Machs shorter than Rodan from Final Wars. While flying, Rodan is able to destroy buildings just by flying over them, but not as powerful as Final Wars Rodan. Rodan is also really durable, being able to take multiple blasts from Godzilla's atomic breath and is unharmed from Ghidorah's gravity beams, and his final ability, the Wind Breath. Now, how about the final battle between the two? It will be a really close match, as Final Wars will be able to fly quickly around Rodan, making it harder for Destroy to actually hit him. But with Destroy's crazy durability, it would take a long while for Final Wars to really make him take damage. But in the end, Final Wars comes out on top, using his high speeds to make multiple attacks on Destroy, eventually taking down. So Final Wars wins with a pretty high difficulty, which means our first point goes to Final Wars, putting the score at 1-0. Now it is time for the best friend of the King of the Monsters, Anguirus. For the Shoei Anguirus, we're going to use the second generation, as he's the one that appears in Destroy All Monsters. With a spiky backplate like an Ankylosaurus and his crown, it makes it pretty hard for an opponent to damage Anguirus while he's upright, but it is shown to be able to take damage by the jaw and the head in front of the crown, when Mechagodzilla broke his jaw in Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla, and when Anguirus ran head-on into Gigan's chest saw in Godzilla vs. Gigan. Anguirus also has a pretty strong bite force, being able to pierce Ghidorah's scales and destroy monsters. Another ability is his spiked carapace, where he leaps backwards, impaling monsters with his spikes, shown in Godzilla vs. Gigan. His intelligence is also great, teaming up with Godzilla multiple times and teaming up with other monsters and destroy all monsters. Now it is time for Final Wars. Anguirus has been shown to be durable when hitting Rodan after being tail-whipped by Godzilla, and being able to use one of his abilities called the Anguirus Ball towards Godzilla, where he curls them to a ball and rolls towards his opponent super fast. His second ability is called the Tail Club, though not shown in the film, and Gears has a spiked club on the end of his tail, able to use it to attack opponents. Finally, he has great intelligence, teaming up with both King Caesar and Rodan to team up against his friend Godzilla. Now it's time for the fight. Now for the fight, Destroy All Monsters will have a harder time than Final Wars, as Final could be used his very fast ball attack on him, and his ball tail. But Destroy All Monsters will be able to just counter it with his back. But with Destroy All Monsters Bite Force, Destroy would be able to get a bite hold of Final Wars. Destroy would be able to kill Final Wars with his Bite Force, so with a really, really high difficulty, Destroy All Monsters wins, giving them their first points. Next in our Battle Royale is Gorosaurus versus Zilla. Now, the reason I put these two against each other because they're both like dinosaurs and have both been forgotten over time. Anyway, let's get over their abilities. Gorosaurus has many abilities like his kangaroo kick, where he does a kangaroo kick. Then we have his bite, which has a really strong when he fought Kong. Then his burrowing, where he can tunnel underground. Then, in the finale, we have fireballs. That's right, Gorosaurus can actually shoot fireballs, shown in the Godzilla King of the Monsters 1993 Game Boy game. Now, you can debate that this isn't canon because it's releasing after the show era, and it's not shown in the movies. Next is Zilla, who can also burrow, has great jumping heights, and has great agility, but not much intelligence for this form. He doesn't possess fire breathing, sadly, and can half do it in the 1998 movie. So because Zilla can't breathe fire, I was wondering if Gorosaurus would be able to shoot his fireballs. So I let you guys vote, and you guys said that he could. So since Gorosaurus can, he is able to ball, while Zilla cannot. Zilla is also able to burrow and tunnel through concrete just like Gorosaurus. Now, this is gonna sound a little harsh, but Zilla is really kind of an idiot. He doesn't show much intelligence, as he died to Godzilla like this. Let's get into his durability, and sadly for Zilla, he has really, really low durability, dying to a single blast from the King of the Monsters. But to make this battle a little bit more fair, since Gorosaurus is able to use his fireballs from a different canon, Zilla is going to gain his durability from the comic book Godzilla Rulers of Earth, where Zilla was able to actually go one-on-one with the King of the Monsters himself with a more fair outcome. Now that we all know about our favorite giant dinos, time for them to duke it out. Despite Gorosaurus being able to shoot fireballs, it would be really hard for Goro to hit him. For Zilla's high durability and high movement, it would be really hard for Gorosaurus to actually hit him. But if Goro was actually to be able to hit him, Zilla would be down for a bit. Now, when Gorosaurus gets a hold of Zilla, he would be able to strike down some pretty hard bites on Zilla. And with Gorosaurus' pretty strong bite force, he could rip off Zilla's limbs. So, for the point, Destroy All Monsters gets their second point of the game, making the score 2-1, with Destroy All Monsters in the lead. Now for this battle, I let Kaiju King, who also made my current banner and the thumbnail for today's video, write the battle. So here's the battle he wrote. First, let's go over King Ghidorah's stats. His height is 100 meters. He's 49 meters shorter than Kaiser Ghidorah, but don't let the small size fool you, as Destroy All Monsters Ghidorah can fly at Mach 3, while Kaiser Ghidorah has no signs of flight despite having wings. He weighs 30,000 metric tons, much lighter than Kaiser. Showa Ghidorah also has his golden lightning beams, able to send the 8,000-ton Mothra larva flying, which, with his large wings flapping, can cause strong winds that sent Godzilla flying back. It puts Zone Fighter to his feet, with Zone Fighter weighing 55,000 tons. Like Godzilla, Ghidorah has magnetism. This ability is able to pull a lot of objects that contain magnetic material. Showa Ghidorah is really good at close combat, as well as one of his greatest feat with his close combat was when Ghidorah was able to launch Godzilla flying into the Godzilla Tower in Godzilla vs. Gigan, with Godzilla weighing 55,115 tons. Ghidorah's durability is great as he is able to walk off multiple times without any harm. Ghidorah's only weakness is when he has no mind control, and he ends up becoming confused. Now it is time for Kaiser Ghidorah. Let's see his strength. Kaiser Ghidorah was able to lift the 55,000 metric ton Godzilla. He can also send Godzilla flying with a little kick from Kaiser Ghidorah. Now for his abilities. Kaiser Ghidorah never shows any signs of flight in the film. Kaiser Ghidorah has gravity beams that were able to lift Ghidorah and slam him to the ground. Kaiser's gravity beams were also able to overpower Godzilla's powerful atomic breath. And we can't forget that Godzilla's atomic breath was able to kill Ghidorah in one shot and blow the head off of Gigan. Ghidorah's gravity beams were also able to make him go flying. Kaiser also was almost able to crush Godzilla, but was mainly because of his size of that boy. Kaiser also possesses the ability to suck the energy from his opponents. It might cause a challenge for King Ghidorah, as he cannot, unlike 2019 Ghidorah, which has the same power. Now it is time for the two of Godzilla's biggest nemesises to fight. For strength, was going to give it to Kaiser Ghidorah, as he was able to send Final Wars Godzilla flying with one kick, while Showa Ghidorah was only able to do it with all three heads. Sadly, for speed, we got no idea the speed of Kaiser, as he walks on screen and never really flies, while to destroy all monsters, Ghidorah flies at Mach 3. But even if we did see Kaiser fly, it probably wouldn't be very fast. Intelligence was given to Showa once again, as Showa was able to team up with other monsters like Gigan and Godzilla vs. Gigan, while Kaiser doesn't show much intelligence. For powers, Showa shows no signs of being able to get stronger, but actually getting weaker. In destroying all monsters, Ghidorah was such a threat, 10 whole monsters were needed to defeat him, including Godzilla. Then, a couple years later, not being able to win a 2v2 with him and Gigan teaming up against Godzilla and Anguirus, who Ghidorah was able to go up against with more monsters. While Kaiser shows the ability to steal power from other monsters when Kaiser starts sucking the power out of Final Wars Godzilla. So, with Kaiser able to steal power and get stronger and stronger, another point goes to Kaiser. But wait, that puts them at a tie. So since we got a tie, we'll give both sides a point, putting the score at 3-2, Shroud Monsters still in the lead. We've came a long way. We've gone through multiple battles, all leading up to this one. The final battle of today's video, Godzilla vs. Godzilla. So let's get into it. First, we'll go over Godzilla from Destroy All Monsters. First, we'll have Godzilla's most iconic ability, the Atomic Breath. Now, this Atomic Breath is actually one of the most powerful special ones, as it's able to curve left, right, up, and down. It can just bend and hit its targets. We also have his magnetic powers, like Ghidorah, shown in Godzilla vs. Mecha. But in the Final Wars, Godzilla doesn't have any metal in him or on him, so there's no real use for this ability. Next is his durability. Godzilla is shown to have pretty thick skin, but he's able to take, cut, and bleed, like, multiple times, with the only monsters cutting him or penetrating his skin being Gigan with his chest saw and claws, Ghidorah with acid, and Mechagodzilla's bullets. So he is able to withstand human fire, but not much specific monsters. But luckily for Godzilla, Final Wars doesn't have any acid, guns, or saws. But if he does get injured, Godzilla has his strong regeneration, unlike -1. Strong monsters can't regenerate in seconds, but has been shown to regenerate multiple times. Godzilla is pretty fast for being a giant monster. Godzilla has been shown to run in episode 15 and 21 of Zone Fighter, which is canon to the Showaverse. He is also weirdly has boxer moves, like his stance. He also has been shown to be super strong, being able to lift and throw monsters way heavier than him, like Ghidorah, Hedorah, Wargulor, Spyler, Gigan, Zandora, and Mechagodzilla. He also has a punch called the Megaton Punch, able to knock over kaiju easily. Godzilla's tail is one of the most powerful abilities, being able to use it to fly and slide off of, and is Godzilla kicking Godzilla vs. Megalon. Godzilla is also able to team up with other monsters and coordinate attacks. He is also able to communicate with the monsters and acknowledge weaknesses of other ones. And we can't forget the time he talked to Anguirus in Godzilla vs. Gigan. Despite being one of the strongest monsters in his respective universe, he has two weaknesses. One is sharp objects like saws and claws, but luckily, Final Wars doesn't have any. He is also able to be very vulnerable to cold temperatures, where multiple times he's been locked away with ice, like in Godzilla Raids Again, where he was defeated by an avalanche of ice and locked away until King Kong vs. Godzilla. Now that we're done with the strong monsters, it's time for Final War. Now it's time for one of the most powerful Godzillas, Final Wars. First, let's go over his most iconic ability of any Godzilla, the Atomic Breath. Final Wars has one of the most powerful atomic breaths of any Godzilla, with it being able to kill monsters in one shot, and if not, sending them flying out of Tokyo. The Atomic Breath also has a variant called the Hyper Spiral Atomic Breath to hit the asteroid coming to Earth called Gorath. With the amazing, and I mean amazing accuracy, like better than legendary. For Final War's final Atomic Breath variant, we got the Burning G-Spark Heat Ray, which mixes Godzilla's Atomic Breath and Shinichi Osagi's Kaiser energy, and using it sends Kaiser to the other end of space and blows him up. Final Wars also has massive intelligence with great coordination, and with his tail and Atomic Breath beam. Final Wars is also really durable, being able to go up against multiple monsters without getting tired or being damaged. Now that we know about them, our two contenders, let's let both of the King of the Monsters duke it out. Let's begin. Now, since this is the final fight of the video, let's have this one be a little bit more special for our kings. For the fight, Kaiju King animated us with a stop motion video between the two. And at the end, we'll have our definitive winner. And a really good message, so let's play that. Oh, look at that. Subscribe to LizardBoyG. Well, if you say so, yeah, you should. Anyway, back to the battle. With high difficulty, Godzilla from Destroy All Monsters comes out of the battle still standing, giving the final point to Destroy All Monsters with a final score of 4-2. Destroy All Monsters wins. Congrats, guys. Oh, you all look a bit tired. Here, I'll just give you this. Yep, so let's give them a round of hands. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I want to give a huge thanks to Kaiju King for helping on the script and that really cool stop motion for the Godzilla's fight. If you guys want to check him out on his channel, it's in the link in the description. He does stop motions over there, and if this video comes out beforehand or even afterhand, he has a new stop motion coming out soon called -1 versus Mechagodzilla. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I'll see you guys next time. Bye. Hey, y'all good? Oh, and before I go, if you guys want to see more videos like this style, or either, like, a different type of video, comment down below if you want to see more like this. So, I guess that's that. So, I'll see you guys next time. Bye. In 1984, Return of Godzilla, or Godzilla 84, released out and sparked what would become one of the best and most devised eras ever in the Godzilla history. With its consistent quality and evolving characters, the Heisei era was known as one of the more better eras of the original Japanese Godzilla films. But after its ending in 1995 with one of the best Godzilla films ever, Godzilla vs. Destoroyah, Gamera decided it was his time to shine, and in the same year, Gamera Guardian of the Universe released, and it sparked a trilogy of films known as the Gamera Heisei Trilogy, and is some of, or even the best kaiju movies ever made, and I dare say they're better than Godzilla's. But with these two set of films existing, who has the most powerful main monster? Today, we're pinning two of history's biggest kaijus with themselves with their biggest eras. This is First, let's go over the stats for the King of the Monsters, Godzilla. First, we got the most iconic ability of any Godzilla, the Atomic Breath. Now, there are two different versions of the Atomic Breath. The standard one, which is just the normal version, then the spiral variant, where he can use on command. He also has his way more powerful version, which we can be used, where he's in his burning mode. But for this battle, Godzilla can't go into his burning mode. As for him to go into it, he had to absorb lots of radiation over the many years of the Heisei era. Next is Nuclear Pulse, where he used to fend off Mothra's 3D mirrors. Then we have his durability, and just like every Godzilla besides 98, Godzilla has really, and I mean really good durability, meaning he's able to withstand a living in a volcano for 4 years, and actually came out looking better than he did. Next we have his intelligence, and Heisei Godzilla has shown to be really intelligent, known as not as intelligent as Showa. Heisei has shown to be able to coordinate attacks, team up with other monsters, and choose what attack would be best suited for the specific challenge at hand. Now it's time for the flying turtle himself, the guardian of the universe, Gamera. The first ability is his Plasma Fireball. This ability is basically the Atomic Breath, being able to be used multiple times where he shoots a fireball at his opponents, and it's really powerful. Next is his High Plasma Fireball, which is just a more powerful version of the fireball, using 120% of its power. Next is one of the most powerful attacks, the Ultima Plasma, which is where Gamera absorbs the Earth's mana, which is basically its life force, and stores it all into his body, where he cooks it in a furnace-like thing in his body, and releases it from his body, which was able to push Legion back far, and then blows it up. This ability was the last chance Gamera was able to use, and had a great impact on the Earth, unleashing large crowds of Gauss after using it. This ability has only been shown to be used once, so for this battle, it becomes a final chance that Gamera will use when he's close to death. Next is the Banishing Fist, but this ability can't, because this ability was used after absorbing some of Iris's power and having to lose an arm to be used. So, since Godzilla can't use his burning form, Gamera can't use the ability. Gamera is also able to use Fire Breath, but it was never actually shown in the films, so, yeah. Also, Gamera gets to use his fireballs, which are just way more powerful. Like Godzilla, Gamera has incredible healing and great durability, which also helps when you get a shell. So, finally, we got flying, as Gamera is able to cuddle up in his shell and fly around. Now, if this is your first time to a LizardBoyG battles, we like to do battles a little differently, where we explain how the battle will likely go, then we have a surprise at the end usually. Now for this battle, Godzilla will have a harder time than Gamera, as in the beginning, Gamera would be flying around finding out about this new attacker. But with Godzilla's many beams, he will knock down Gamera to get to the ground, where they can have a ground fight. The battle would start off with the two going hand in hand until Godzilla would pull out a beam attack with a counter with Gamera's shell, then firing back with a fireball. This fireball would send Godzilla flying back, giving Gamera time to turn into his flying form and then slam into Godzilla. Godzilla would dodge the attack and then grab Gamera's tail and throw him into a building. Godzilla would then get some more attacks in, damaging Gamera. Gamera would then get another fireball into Godzilla, giving Gamera enough time to get up. Now for this battle, Kaiju King again helped out and made a stop motion to show off who would win. Now stop motion doesn't show exactly how he win, as that's kind of hard to do, but it will show who will win in the end. So here it is. As you can see in the end, Gamera wins. Thanks again to Kaiju King for making the stop motion. If you want to check out more of his videos, there's a link in the description to his channel. Now, when I'm writing this video, I got a voice act in his latest episode of his Monster Island show. The thing was called The Pool Day, I forgot, but I voice acted Ultraman in the second episode. So, if you want to check out that series, there's a link in the description to his channel. And if you want to see me appear in one of his episodes, I'm in episode 2. So, yeah. Anyway, Gamera, here's your trophy. And guys, thank you for watching another monster battle. If you guys want to see more videos like this, comment if I should do more of these. And comment what battles you'd probably want to see. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Kaiju number 8 and Ultraman are some of the most talked about kaiju in present day. Kaiju number 8 getting popular because of his new show, and Ultraman due to his new Netflix movie. But this gave me an idea. Since these two are human-like kaiju, what if they teamed up and fought the Monsterverse, home of some of the most powerful kaiju to date? So, welcome to...
I've seen hell rise out of your eyes, creep up at night to your demise. You gotta fight, I gotta fight. Been thinking that I need isolation. All this devastation, head needs renovation. Alright, if you had to choose, would you ever let me go?
For this battle, there will be a roster of monsters that the two will have to defeat. Why? Because I wanted to. That's why. Anyway, after each battle, the two will get brought back there to the normal health. Now let's go for the roster. For this roster, we have Behemoth, Wartdog, Doug, Tiamat, Mothra, Scar King, Kong with the axe, no Beast Glove because that sucks, King Ghidorah, Evolved Godzilla, and then Shimo. Also, if you guys have any ideas to change the roster, comment them down, and I might change it for a future video. Okay, here's the rules. Since Kaiju number 8 is super powerful, he will have to stay his normal height being 2 meters. For Ultraman, he's going to be able to change back and forth between his human form and Kaiju form, which would be the show-up version, if anyone's wondering. Also, after every fight, if one of them get, for instance, a arm ripped off, for the next battle, it will be brought back. So now we all know this, so let's go over Kaiju number 8 stats first. Staying at a height of 2 meters in Kaiju form, first is his strength of Kaiju number 8, shown in the show. Kaiju number 8 is super powerful, being able to easily lift a car with only one of his hands that were transformed, obviously not his human form. He is also able to obliterate Kaiju with a single punch, and with that seems to be his most powerful punch yet. In episode 9, he has to be able to send the Kaiju ship away back into space with a combined power from his large jump and his jets. Just like Godzilla, Kaiju number 8 is really, and I mean really powerful, being able to tank shots from, guns. He's also able to change parts of his body, like part of his leg and arms, into boosters to shoot himself into the sky, making his hitting even more powerful than it already is. Next is his speed and jumping. Kaiju number 8 is able to jump really high and is really fast, able to dodge opponents easily. Lastly is his regeneration, which is, sadly for his generation, we don't have many feats from the show, so to back anything up. So for generation, let's just say he would take around 10 minutes to heal up a cut. Now it is time for the size of the team up. Ultraman, for this battle, we're using the show version of Ultraman from the original Ultraman show. Also, since I don't know much about Ultraman yet, Kaiju King came in and did all the research, and I only used like part of it, Thanks anyway for helping. So let's get to Ultraman. Ultraman is one of the more powerful kaiju known, with many feats under his name. I'm not going to list them all because, that would take forever because the show is like 300 episodes long. It's too long for a single show and then 1,000 spin-offs. But let's just get to it. He's able to take multiple shots from other kaiju that are way bigger and sometimes even stronger than him. He's also able to have some of the most powerful abilities, where he can easily one-shot kaiju in his 300-episode run. I don't know much about Ultraman. I just know that he's powerful, he's cool, and he's popular. I haven't really watched much Ultraman, but I don't really care. Anyway, now let's get into the first battle, Behemoth. Sadly for our big mammoth, Behemoth is not even cutting it close. Ultraman alone could beat Behemoth without the super powerful Kaiju number 8. So our team continues on to round 2. Now, the reason War Dog is higher than Behemoth is because we're giving them a pack of 10, and even bigger than that pack is able to cause a little trouble to Kong. But again, with mostly no difficulty, our team continues. Now it's time for Doug, and this time they will have just a little trouble, but still without any difficulty. The two continue. Yeah. Now, this is where the real challenge actually starts. As for this battle, Kaiju number 8 and Ultraman are going to the ocean, and not just any ocean, the Antarctic. Oh my god, I'm not cutting that. Where it will be freezing cold. But the bad thing is that we've never seen Kaiju number 8 in any of the episodes swimming. So from episodes 1 to 10 that are currently out when I'm writing this. But he did go to space. Hey, editor Lizard Boy here. But anyway, I wanted to take back the statement because I didn't want you guys to get mad. But I was rewatching the episode to use clips from it for the video, and I realized that technically he never actually went into space or even got close to it. He was more just still in the lower atmosphere. But yeah, he doesn't actually go to space. But I think I did say that he could just cover his mouth or just not breathe for just a little bit. So let's just say this battle just happens really quickly. So yeah, sorry for that, but yeah, he can't breathe in space. That since the skin of the kaiju variant lays over Kafka, so kaiju number 8 can breathe in space, which also sort of means that he's able to breathe underwater, as all he needs to is close his mouth or overlay it with something. As we can see that he makes his arms and legs into jets, so we can obviously shape his body. Ultraman doesn't show any signs of needing to breathe, and also since he comes from space, he doesn't need to breathe. But um, they would still have some trouble with Tiamat. But yes, with the combined power of the two, Tiamat could be killed, as Tiamat easily died from the blast of semi-nuclear Godzilla GXK. So when Kafka got swallowed, he could easily just punch through and explode Tiamat from the inside. So of low difficulty, not none, they continue. I don't even know why Mothra is higher than Tiamat. Low difficulty, team continues. Okay, I'm sorry if I feel sound sick because I have a clogged up nose, but I might sound like an nerdy, but this is a Godzilla channel, so you're gonna have to deal with that. Now it is time for the beginning of the real challenge. Scar King, aka the Tyrant of the Apes. It is also our first big, like, in quotes, big threat for the duo. Scar King stands at a height of 100 meters, but the big boy of our duo, Ultraman, stands at a height of 82 meters, so pretty close to his height. About 18 off, I'd say. Give my quick math, but Now for this fight, Scar King can use his whip, but he can't use Shimo for the battle. So this is not going to be a ground battle. We're using an empty version of Scar's Kingdom without any other apes. So let's bet the battle commence. For the fight, Ultraman will be doing most of the work, distracting Scar King running around, but it's likely he will get put into a chokehold by Scar King. But Kaiju 8 will run up to Scar and punch him in the face, knocking off his jaw. I know it's pretty gruesome, but it's gonna happen. Then Ultraman will pull his finishing move, obliterating Scar King. Then, if needed, Kaiju 8 will punch Scar King and basically disintegrate him. Medium difficulty, because, they'll be in a chokehold. Now, for this battle, Kong is only able to use his axe, because, why not? It's my video. Anyway, let's get into the battle. For this battle, Kaiju number 8 and Ultraman are really going to need to communicate, as if they didn't, they would definitely die. But since they both are humans, they can do that. Now, sadly, the only way I could see these guys winning is if Ultraman was able to keep Kong down long enough for Kaiju number 8 to get a super powerful hit on Kong. But sadly, Kong is just too powerful and smart to let Ultraman get a hold of him, and he would just use his axe to keep them away. So sadly, this is where our duo ends. Now, if Kaiju number 8 was the size of Ultraman, they would easily slice through the Monsterverse like it's cake. Until they got into Shimo, but that's for another day. Anyway, if you think I'm wrong about this answer, I want to hear your guys' thoughts on the battle. And if you guys want to see more videos like this, comment down below and give me a like. And also, I want to know what are some battle videos you guys want to see. Anyway, yeah. Anyway, that's all for this week's video. I'll see you guys next time. Hey everybody, LizardBoyG here. But, as you might have noticed, this video is kind of short, but I have a good reason for that. It's because I made a community post asking if I should show people how I make my battle videos. So I'm gonna do that. So this is for you guys that want to learn how to make them. So I recorded me editing and showing you guys how I specifically make it. I edited it all together. And after this premiere ends, the one that you're watching right now, because I'm premiering this, because I'm doing that now. Right after this ends, there's a new premiere happening explaining how I make these videos. So if you want to learn how to make them, go over there. It'll probably be shown in the end credits of this video. But anyway, this is one of my this is how I want the style of my new battle videos to be. So if you like this style, comment down below that you like it. But yeah. Okay. So, it's been a while since I made a battle video. The last one I made was kind of inaccurate, but that's because it was Ultraman. I don't really know much about Ultraman. But we're back, so let's get to it. Kiryu Goji, aka one of the best designed Godzillas, and Legendary Goji, a Godzilla that has had many designs. So what if they fought each other? For this video, because Legendary has many forms, we're gonna pick the GVK design. And also we're gonna make them heights the exact same, just because if not, then Kiryu Goji would absolutely get slammed. So any new powers shown in GXK aren't going to be in this video. So let's go over the stats for our favorite big boy. First up is Atomic Breath, able to go straight through the ground and reach the whole earth. Next is his durability. Now Godzilla has shown to have many feats of durability within the Monsterverse, so we're going to go over many of his powerful ones. Number 1 is taking a building being dropped on him in Godzilla 2014, and then taking the Oxygen Destroyer and being dropped down from amazingly high heights in Godzilla King of Monsters. And finally, in Godzilla vs. Kong, being able to be thrown around into many buildings by Mechagodzilla and taking multiple punches from Kong and getting hit in the head by his axe. Finally, we got physical abilities. Godzilla has been shown to be able to have a grip on being able to hold on to his own opponents and being able to bite onto them. And we can't forget the Godzilla Tackle, where he's able to get strong holds on his enemies. Next up is Kiryu Saga Goji. First, this is Atomic Breath, able to destroy parts of cities and putting a strong impact upon Kiryu. Godzilla is also shown to be very durable, being able to tank a point blank of an absolute zero cannon shot, and being able to show not be vulnerable to any of Kiryu's armory. Despite being durable, Kiryu Goji is shown to be very slow at healing, as after a whole year after getting a scar from Kiryu, it becomes a vulnerable spot and becomes the reason of his death. So, if GVK was able to injure Kiryu Goji enough, it would take him a while to heal. Now that we have learned about our Gojis, let's see how they would fight. For this fight, we're just going to explain it, how I think the battle will go down, so let's get to it. Legendary turns around to see Kiryu Goji ready for battle, and the two charge at each other. Legendary attempts to tackle Kiryu Goji, but he moves last second and uses his Atomic Breath, pushing Legendary back a little. Legendary charges at Kiryu Goji again, and Kiryu turns around and tries to run away, but Legendary grabs his tail and swoops him through multiple buildings and tossing him. The two get into a beam clash until Kiryu Goji's beam overpowers Legendary's, and Legendary goes flying back into some buildings. Kiryu Goji then grabs a bite of Legendary's arm and rips it off. Kiryu Goji then steps on Godzilla's chest, but Legendary begins clawing at Kiryu Goji, as his leg is now all scarred up and bleeding. Then Kiryu Goji shoots a beam on Legendary's head and kills him. Anyway, in the end, Kiryu Goji was able to come out on top, winning the fight, but he wouldn't be able to run for a couple years. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this week's video, and I have more battle videos coming out soon. And thanks again to Kaiji King for making this week's thumbnail. Link in the description will find his channel. And as always, I'll see you guys next time. Heisei Gamera, one of the most underrated kaiju trilogies in the kaiju genre, and the Godzilla Heisei era, one of the most hyped up eras in the Godzilla franchise. In the past, I've already pinned the two main monsters against each other, but what if Gamera fought the other monsters in the Heisei era? So for today's video, Gamera is going to be upsized, well, he's only going to be upsized for the battles that take place with the kaiju from Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah to Godzilla vs. Destroya. And yeah, so now that we got that out of the way, let's go over the kaiju Gamera's going to be fighting. For our roster, we got Biollante, Mechagodzilla, King Ghidorah, Space Godzilla, and Destroya. I know this list sounds kind of short, but I don't know what other kaiju to add, so yeah, I just have to deal with it. Now, let's go over Gamera. First is his Plasma Fireball, a ball of fire that he can shoot out of his mouth, flying at his opponent. Next is the High Plasma, which is just a more powerful version of the Plasma Fireball that was able to completely destroy Gauss and destroy the final battlegrounds of the first movie. Next is Fire Breath, where he just shoot fire. It's pretty explanatory. Next is Shell Cutter, where Gamera can cut an opponent with the edges of his shell, spinning really fast. Then it's his Regeneration, which is shown to be really fast in Gamera 3. He was able to close up his wound on his arm when it got cut off. And in the other movies, he goes into a short hibernation and where he focuses all his power on healing his wounds. Gamera is also shown to have the ability to use his mouth to bite kaiju and use his claws to stab and deal damage to them as well. And we cannot forget that he can fly. Okay, now that we know about Gamera, let's go into the battles, starting off with Biollante. Now, the only real trouble Gamera would have is Biollante's arms, but he could slice them off or bite them off. Then he would just use his High Plasma to blow her up. So, low difficulty, Gamera continues. Now we got Mechagodzilla. The same for Biollante. Gamera would not have much trouble. Only trouble being Mechagodzilla's missiles, but Gamera would be able to block him with a shell. So, lowish to middle-ish difficulty for Mechagodzilla. Now it is time for Godzilla's biggest nemesis, King Ghidorah. Ghidorah is refrigerated dragon. That's stupid. Gamera's main trouble would definitely be Ghidorah's pure size and his gravity beams, but again, Gamera would be able to block them, and if the fight went to the skies, Gamera would also not have much trouble, especially with his Shell Cutter, which won't be able to pierce Ghidorah, but could shear off some of his protective armor, scales, whatever you call them. But in the long run and after a long battle, Gamera would still be able to pull through with a low to mid difficulty. Now it is time for Space Godzilla, one of the most powerful Heisei era villains. Now Space Godzilla is super powerful, I'd say. He's possibly one of the more powerful than Destroya. But people don't like when Destroya's not the fun which I'm is there, so we're just not going to go over that. Despite Gamera being super powerful, Gamera would not be able to make it past Space Godzilla's shield. And even if he could, Space Godzilla's telekinesis would stop Gamera, so Gamera wouldn't be able to do much damage. But after enough, it would be enough to defeat him. So Gamera would stop at Space Godzilla, sadly. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and before I end the video, I want to hear your guys' thoughts on the Heisei era roster. I want to know if I should switch out some kaiju or add some new ones. But also I want to explain, I know the last two battle videos have been kind of short. Sadly, the battles are just really easy to recap, and also I just really have to write the script quickly, and no joke, this entire video was made on Thursday, because I've been busy a couple of days. So, yeah, I do have some big ones planned up. They probably won't be out for like a month or two. And yeah, but since you guys are still here, I'll give you a teaser for next week's video. Anyway, thanks for Kaiju King for another great thumbnail. As always, Kiryu, the Mechagodzilla from the Millennium Era, and Megalon, the most underused kaiju from the Show era. These two are some of my favorite kaiju characters from the Godzilla franchise. So, I was wondering what would happen if they fought. First, let's go over the categories they're going up against. Strength, battle IQ, durability, and power. But before we pin them against each other, first let's go over their abilities, starting off with Kiryu. First is the Twin Maser Cannon, which is a beam in his mouth that railguns were used. Kiryu is able to fire multiple bullets from his guns. Next is the Maser Blade, a blade that comes out of Kiryu's arm and shoots electricity into the victim. The Spiral Claw, where his hand turns into a saw, shoots out of his arm, and, cuts thing. And then there's just rockets and missiles, which are pretty self-explanatory. Now it is time for Megalon, starting off with his Beast Killer Light Ray, or the beam from Megalon's crown thing. Next is his Geothermal Napalm, which there's these little ball things that shoot out of his mouth that explode when they hit something. And drill arms are, well, they're drill arms, so. Now let's get to the battle. For this video, we're doing categories to see who would do better in each one. Whoever does better gets a point. First is strength, and sadly, we're going to be giving it to Kiryu, as Kiryu has jets able to aid him in lifting things, and even without using them, Kiryu is able to throw Godzilla by his tail, while Megalon doesn't really show any signs of strength to combat this. Now it's battle IQ, and this one we're going to be giving it to Megalon. Megalon seems to be old and knowledgeable about fighting, while Kiryu's captains did have to go through training, and they haven't been fighting for as long as Megalon has, and aren't as knowledgeable while fighting giant kaiju, so this round's going to be going to Megalon. Now it's time for durability. We're going with Kiryu on this one, with his body parts being easily replaceable and being hardly damaged in his fight against Godzilla in both of his movies, while Godzilla was, well, damaged with a scar on his chest. Now it is time for the final round. This one will determine if it's a tie against the two or a win for Kiryu. This battle is for power, so which one of these two would win against powers, let's say. And for this battle, it's going to have to go to Kiryu, having a more wider range of powers and being more versatile. So, the win goes to Kiryu with a score of 3-1. Now it is for the two actually fought. It would possibly turn into a different battle, with different specific factors changing how it would go. But, who knows, this is a different video. Anyway, thanks again for Kaiju King for making this week's thumbnail, and as always, I'll see you guys next time. Bye. Hey everybody, and welcome back to LizardBoyG. Anyway, so, if you don't know, alongside Godzilla, I like Jujutsu Kaisen. It's a good thing. So, I decided that since we're reaching the end of summer, let's make a video on it. So, let's get to it. Satoru Gojo, the honored one, or, well, the strongest, for, well, a little while until he just died. So, spoilers, sorry. We're doing spoilers. I'm going to put that in the beginning of the video. But however, you might know him as one of these names in the Godzilla Millennium Era, home of some of the strongest kaiju in the kaiju genre. So, would Satoru be able to defeat them? Let's find out, I guess. Okay, so when I was first recording this, I forgot to add Gojo's stats, so we're just going to do it here. So let's get to it. First, let's go over Gojo's abilities. First is Infinity ability, where it slows down anything coming towards him and eventually stops it altogether. Next is his Curse technique, Blue. Gojo's main abilities are literally just magnets, and Blue is the one that attracts things towards it with a glowing blue orb. And our next ability is the opposite of Blue, where it rejects things and causes a little explosion blast called Curse technique Reversal Red. I forgot to add this, but there is a more powerful version of Blue called Cursed Blue technique Max Blue, which is a more powerful version of Blue. For instance, if Gojo uses normal Blue, it can attract small things like pens, computers, and people. But Blue Max has the ability to attract parts of buildings, shown in episode 25 in the beginning of the Hidden Inventory arc. Finally is this Hollow technique Purple, where the two red and blue powers are combined, turning into purple, basically erasing whatever it touches. And I forgot to add this, but we're not even using the ability in the battles, but his domain expansion, Infinite Void, where it basically just stops anyone because it's being filled with knowledge. So you basically can't move, so it allows Gojo to hit you with anything he wants, aka Hollow Purple. Now that we know all about Gojo, let's go over the list of kaiju Gojo is going to be fighting. So the list of kaiju that Gojo will be taking down is Zilla, Megaguirus, Orga, Rodan, Anguirus, Kiryu, King Ghidorah from GMK, Kaiser Gora, and finally Final Wars Godzilla. Anyway, as always, comment ideas if you want to change the roster if you feel like it should be changed. Now, let's get to it. First up is Zilla from Godzilla Final Wars. And yeah, there's just no way Zilla wins in this battle. Absolutely no way. Not even a difficulty. That's how easy it's able to take him down. Megaguirus. Do I even have to explain this battle? No. So, Megaguirus loses. If you want an explanation, purple. and he can't pass by infinity. Now for the rest of the battles, Gojo was just easily able to kill him without really focusing on fighting. But for Orga, this is where Gojo might actually have to be focused in on killing him. But he'd still win. So, now it is time for Rodan. So, this time we're actually going to have like a real fight where they're actually going to fight. With Rodan's high speed, it would be a little harder for Gojo to get a hold of Rodan. But with a max blue, Gojo would be able to slam Rodan on the ground and unleash a hollow purple upon him. So, low difficulty. Rodan gone. Now it is time for Anguirus. So, mixed with Anguirus' hard shell, high speeds, and great jumping heights, Gojo would have more trouble against Anguirus. But yet again, he'd still win, as any attack he used on Gojo wouldn't be able to touch him. Now this is going to be the last battle where Gojo barely struggles, as for the next couple of battles, he's actually going to have a hard time. So, Kiryu is really strong with his wide range of abilities, strength, and speed. Gojo will have a little bit of a hard time with Kiryu, but still lower to mid difficulty as Gojo still continues. This battle is going to be Gojo's hardest one yet, mostly because Ghidorah's powers, beams, and his energy shield, and his Thunder Spark are possibly capable of breaking through Gojo's infinity, which was the main thing Gojo had getting him through the past couple battles. But one of Ghidorah's weaknesses is close combat, so if Gojo was able to perform a point-blank hollow purple on Ghidorah, he would be able to win, but it would be still of a hard fight. Around medium difficulty, Gojo continues. Now it is time for the big bad of Godzilla Final Wars, Kaiser Ghidorah. Gojo's main struggles in this fight would be Kaiser's immense size and his strong gravity beams, and having a higher chance of breaking through infinity. But even with this immense power, he still wouldn't be able to win against Gojo's hollow purple. So, medium difficulty, Gojo continues. Now it is time for the final battle of video, Satoru Gojo vs Final Wars Godzilla. This would be the hardest challenge for Satoru Gojo, and if Gojo succeeds, he will become the strongest of the known competitors of the Millennium Era. So, did Gojo survive the Godzilla Millennium Era? The answer is yes. Yes, he did. I couldn't really find a way for Godzilla Final Wars to break through Gojo's infinity. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and as I know, it's in a different form of others, but next week we're going back to Godzilla, and differently, as we're going to be explaining what Godzilla's atomic breath exactly is. So get ready for that video next week. Also, thanks to X-Man for doing this week's thumbnail. It's his first time doing a thumbnail for me and being a part of the channel, so thanks to him. Anyway, as always, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Ocean man, take me by the hand, lead me to the land that you understand. Ocean man, the voyage to the corner of the globe is a real trip. Ocean man, the crust of a tan man and by the sand.
Is being made of pure radiation, that's what I meant to say. Now, since radiation travels at the speed of light, that's exactly what radiation is. These sources do line up especially well. Now, Heisei Godzilla's beam is a little special because it is the only Godzilla beam to burn at 500,000 degrees Celsius, except for the original Godzilla's incandescent light, which does have some statements saying that it reaches about 1,000,000 degrees Celsius, but those are a little loose, so we're not going to count those here. Now, Heisei Godzilla's beam, being a beam of light, is supported by the fact that several times throughout his films, it is reflected back at him, where it be the diamond mirror from the Super X2, or the diamond coating and G-Crusher, but not G-Crusher, plasma beam of Space Godzilla. I meant to say Mechagodzilla, my mistake. And now, unlike past incarnations of Godzilla, where his beam was more of a fog or a light mist that would go in a straight direction, like Showa Godzilla, his beam was also described to be a beam of light, but it's not portrayed in the same way as Heisei Godzilla's. And that is because of one simple thing, and that is because Heisei Godzilla's beam is stated multiple times to be a both wider and stronger version of Showa Godzilla's beam. Now, what this does is it means it is more effective, and we can tell this as, for instance, in his fight with Batra, Godzilla shooting his atomic breath and, of course, slamming Batra into the ground several times was able to cut open the entire planet. So his beam is very powerful by default. But of course, what about the Spiral Ray? Well, Spiral Heat Ray, first appearing in 1991, Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah, showed up as his standard atomic breath, but wrapped in electricity and a little bit of purple in there, because why not? And this was just a more potent version of his atomic breath, being able to cut through King Ghidorah, where his regular atomic breath couldn't, but then could after that, for some reason, I don't know. Then of course, Fire Rodan killed himself and gave Godzilla his power, and then he got the Uranium Heat Ray, which is essentially just the Spiral Heat Ray, but better, and it's red. So that is very good, yes, very good, red ray. Yes, that's what we're going to go with. And this atomic breath, this Spiral Heat Ray, it was so powerful and so hot that it did burn at 1,000,000 degrees Celsius, and was also so powerful that Heisei Godzilla's mere presence alone was able to ignite the atmosphere, and as such that set the standard for the Spiral Heat Ray. Now, as the films went on, the Spiral Heat Ray did decrease a little bit in temperature, but the amount of destruction it caused stayed relatively the same, being able to one-shot Space Godzilla and being able to do heavy damage to Destroyer with varying success, but Destroyer's a beast, so we can't really put him down for that. And finally, we have the infinite Spiral Heat Ray that Burning Godzilla used. Now, this happened when he went into meltdown mode and couldn't control his atomic breath. And this atomic breath has no real calculations of how hot it is, but it is stated that every single time uses the infinite Spiral Heat Ray, that it increases immeasurably in power, so its temperature probably increases with it as well. And this infinite, immeasurable, exponential, this beam was so powerful that the mere fact that Destroyer was able to withstand even one of these blasts was... It was just impressive. I mean, any other creature would have died instantly. Space Godzilla would have died, Mecha Godzilla would have died. It's just... Destroyer's an absolute beast for that. But finally, what else about it? Well, it's hot, it's powerful, and so is Godzilla. But yeah, that's all I gotta say, and I do realise that I've probably taken up a large amount of time with this, but I'm going to go. Bye-bye. Oh, actually, before I go, just know that I was very tired and I'd just woken up since recording this, so that is why my sentences are not structured properly, and I couldn't be bothered to do a second take because this is a LizardBoyG video, and it is not worth my time. Anyways, yeah.
Again, you can tell I'm kind of lazy with this video. As for this one, we got Starzilla the Galaxy Kaiju reading off this one. So, Starzilla, just go ahead and read it.
Godzilla 2000 has one of the more unique atomic breaths, having this more fiery look, orange color, and can unleash an explosion that takes place once the beam hits its target. Now, I wasn't able to find the exact temperature his beam might unleash, but we can assume it's around the others' heats, being 900,000 degrees or even hotter. So, it isn't really like the fiery flame, like the thing from the original 1954 film, having this more gun-like take, just being a way to transport the in-pace explosion it has.
I know, it's been like the last 3 people have been other YouTubers. But anyway, we have another one, this one being Cool Guys Zilla. I gave him GMK Godzilla. I really wanted to do this one, but I didn't want to yap for like a minute and a half. So he's gonna do it for me.
What's up, everyone? My name's Cool Guy, and today I'm being held against my will. And I'm here to talk about a Godzilla beam, and I have no choice, so let's begin. Godzilla from Godzilla, Mothra, and King Ghidorah, Giant Monsters All Out Attack, or GMK, has one of the more unique atomic breaths, having the type of atomic breath that hypes you up while watching. This atomic breath, unlike Godzilla 2000's atomic breath, goes back to its blue color, and it is just like the 2000's beam. It is more of a way to transfer the blast, except it's way more powerful, creating an entire explosion upon impact, and even at its strongest. Creating a mushroom cloud. There is also the gravitational atomic breath, which is created after Godzilla absorbs King Ghidorah's power.
Okay, your favorite YouTuber's back. So, here Godzilla's atomic breath is more of the same of Godzilla 2000's, except it's blue and doesn't give a fiery effect as 2000 did. The atomic breath also doesn't really have any amazing feats to make it stand out, besides wiping out the JSDF defense line. Yeah, that's basically just it about him. We're back with another cameo. This one is going to be going by the Gorosaurus dude. I'm not going to fix that. It's his problem. Me and him have another video coming up soon. Not on my channel, on his channel. But, you know, he's going to read this one off.
Godzilla Final Wars. Atomic breath is one of the strongest out of them all, capable of killing them with a single hit at its lowest power. This atomic breath is also more of an impact beam instead of a laser or flame. There's multiple different versions of Godzilla atomic breath, so let's go over them real quick. First is the base one, which is able to kill kaiju pretty easily and is used out throughout the film. Then the second form is the hyperspiral heat ray, which was used to slow down the gore at the end of the movie and has this really cool charge up. Then finally is a burning G-spark heat ray, which is a mix of normal atomic breath and Kaiser power from Ozawa. Godzilla Final Wars definitely has some of the strongest beams of all the Godzilla franchise.
Oh my god, finally, I'm back. So let's get to it. Shin Godzilla, one of the coolest Godzilla variants of the recent years, which also means he has some of the coolest variants of the beams to date. First is the Super Thermo Radiation Particle Belt Flame. It's a long title, which is the large amount of fire shooting out of his mouth in the movie. And then it has the ability to turn into the Narrow Purple Beam, which is a shorter name, capable of cutting through the cities like butter and leaving a flame-like resolve where the beam hit. Now, there are more beams to Shin Godzilla, but they're not stated to be atomic breath, such as the tail beam and the spine beams, so they're not going to be in the video, and we're going to go straight to Godzilla Earth. Now it is time for the biggest of boys, Godzilla Earth. Godzilla Earth has one of the strongest atomic breaths, capable of destroying kaiju within a single hit and killing them. It has this super cool charge up and unleashes its power through a small focus like thing, where it kind of focuses up like Shin Godzilla's purple beam, except it's blue and it comes out of his mouth. Well, the other one does too, but I was kind of talking about the tail, so it's also more faster, powerful, and again, this one has the more beam and like an extended limb, able to push things back. So it's basically just like the pushing beam. It mostly pushes things, and it can shoot right through you if you're not focused or locked in and senses. Oh my god, this one's the longest. Okay. For Legendary Goji, we're going to be over each beam from Godzilla 2014, King of the Monsters, Godzilla vs. Kong, and finally Godzilla x Kong, the New Empire. First is Goji 2014. This beam has a less focused beam and is more of a fiery like the original 1954 one, but it's also able to act as a forcing push, which is like the one where it shoots and it pushes things. It's like a force. It's like a hand or something. Anyway. And it's also less of a flame, despite having a flame-like look. So, Next is King of the Monsters and Godzilla vs. Kong. I put these two together because they're basically the exact same name, except Godzilla vs. Kong is more thicker and focused. And when I mean focused, I mean it isn't sprawling all over the place. These two beams have a more force-like power. Instead of being a flame, it has shown that it can burn things, but it's not a flame. It's more of just a little beam that pushes things. And also results to energy shown when it hits Kong's axe and eventually puts energy into it. Finally is Godzilla X Kong's beam, which is basically the last one, but pink. It also has more power and a force to it, and it's shown that it can use it more than the other ones. It also has a second supercharged form where Godzilla was fighting Scar King, and it's just a more powerful version, and it makes him look cool, so can't really disagree with that. Ultima Godzilla, one of the strongest Godzillas to date. Ultima's beam has an even more focused look, being formed by these little blue rings, and then form a sharp blue beam in front of Godzilla's face. And this is basically a really hot and sharp laser instead of a beam. It doesn't really matter. Now it is time for the final Godzilla of the video, Godzilla -1. Godzilla -1's atomic breath takes inspiration from GMK, with the target of what the atomic breath hits, creating a mushroom cloud upon impact. Not only that, but it also has a lot of radiation stored within it, and it's also more of like a bomb instead. With Godzilla -1, charging up his beam is basically different from all the others, whereas like little dorsals kind of like shoot out, but they don't shoot out of his body, they kind of just stick out, and then you stick back in when the beam is ready to shoot. So, yeah, he's really unique, he has really cool abilities, and sadly, now it's time for the end of the video. So, yeah. Oh my god. This video actually took forever, I'm not even joking. For most of my latest videos, I just grinded them out on Thursdays, but because school is here, it's gotten a lot harder. I currently don't know the length of this video, but I know it's going to be longer than all the others because of CJ and his yapping for 5 minutes. But I also wanted to say thanks to CJ Kaiju Productions, BB Films, Cool Godzilla, Starzilla the Galaxy Kaiju, and the Gorosaurus dude for helping on the video and reading the other Godzillas. I knew if I did them all, I would get too tired to edit this, so thanks to them. If you want to watch their content, their channels are in the link in the description. I don't really recommend it because my content is the best. That's a joke, I'm sorry. Also, thanks to Kaiju King for working on this week's thumbnail, and as always, it looks amazing. This video actually took a little while to make. It's more of a personal project for me, and that's why I kind of delayed it by a day or two. I don't know when I'm uploading this. Anyway, as always, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Ocean man, take me by the hand, lead me to the land that you understand. Ocean man, the voyage to the corner of the globe is a real trip. Ocean man, the crust of the tan man, by the sand, soaking up the thirst of the land. Ocean man, can you see through the wonder of amazement at the open land?
Hey everybody, welcome back to another video, and I'm gonna see if this audio position is better. Anyway, so last week's video was kind of a mess, and I really like the way it turned out. Anyway, second week of school, new video, welcome to Friday. Recently I've been trying to get into other kaiju franchises besides Godzilla. First I started with Gamera, and then I went to Kaiju Rate, then to Ultraman, and recently some cool stuff was announced by another way smaller kaiju franchise with a total of 3 installments. That franchise being Pacific Rim, having Pacific Rim from 2013, Pacific Rim Uprising from 2018, and Pacific Rim Black, the show on Netflix, from 2021. Now I've seen the original Pacific Rim a long time ago. Actually, I saw it around the same time I saw Godzilla 2014 for the first time. But I never really prescribed Pacific Rim as a kaiju franchise, especially because I didn't know what kaiju meant. Also, that was the only time I saw it, so I don't know much about the story. But honestly, I bought both the Pacific Rim movies on Steelbook, as recently a prequel series was announced in an upcoming comic book as well. Anyway, so I watched the first movie while trying to fall asleep for my first day of school the next day, and the first kaiju that appeared in the film was Knifehead, which is the kaiju with a knife on its head. And I was like, hey, Giron has a knife on his head. So I thought it'd be cool for both of the knife head looking guys to fight each other. So I decided, let's do that. First, let's go over their stats. First is our boy Knifehead, standing around a height of 107 meters tall and weighing in at 8,700 metric tons. He has the abilities of knife stab, slashing, biting, and a blue rim ray. Its main weaknesses are headshots and atomic beams, while the main things he's resistant to is missiles, bomb, and lasers. Now let's get to Giron. For Giron, we're going with the Giron from the Gamera Showa era, so just wanted to emphasize this. First is this knife head that's 100 times harder than Diamond, able to reflect laser/beam attacks, and of course it can cut through things, able to cut through Gamera's shell after weakening it. Next we have his shurikens. Giron has 4 shurikens that he's able to shoot out of his head and make hit his target with telepathy, meaning he can shoot his target and almost hit it every try. And not only that, they're incredibly sharp, causing intense bleeding from its targets. On top of all this, he is incredibly agile, clashing with knife head's more slower movements. Now it is time for the battle itself. Who would win? The winner for the battle is gonna be Giron. Mixed with Giron's shurikens able to weaken Knifehead and Giron's agile movement, it wouldn't be easy for Giron to win, but he'd still win with around medium difficulty. Now if you enjoyed today's video, thanks. But also, while I'm writing this, tomorrow is the day I get my pet lizard named Baragon. But when this video is coming out, I already had him for a day. So if I remember to, I'll add some baby pictures, and I'm just gonna presume he's cute. So, he's so cute. Oh my goodness, wow, look at him. Look at these pictures from the future. Anyway, thanks to X-Men for cooking up another thumbnail. And if you want to see more Pacific Rim or Gamera content, comment that you do. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time. We are pinning 2 of the strongest Godzillas known to man, Showa Godzilla and Heisei Godzilla. Let's get to it. Starting with Showa Godzilla. First we have Godzilla's most iconic ability, the Atomic Breath. Now this Atomic Breath is actually one of the most special ones, as it's able to curve left, right, up, and down. It can just bend to hit its targets. Magnetic powers like Ghidorah shown in Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla. Next is his durability. Godzilla has some pretty thick skin, but he is able to cut and bleed, like multiple times, with only monsters cutting him or penetrating his skin being Gigan with his chest saw and claws, Ghidorah with acid, and Mechagodzilla's bullets. So he is able to withstand human fire, but some specific monsters not really. Now it's time for the second Godzilla known to man, Heisei Godzilla. First we got his most iconic ability of any Godzilla, the Atomic Breath. Now there are 2 different versions of the Godzilla Atomic Breath, of the Heisei Godzilla Atomic Breath. One which is the normal version, then the spiral version, which he can use on command. He also has this way more powerful version which can be used as burning mode, but for this battle Godzilla can't go into his burning mode. As for him to go into it, he has to absorb lots of radiation over the many years of the Heisei era. Next is his nuclear pose, which is used to fend off Mothra's 3D mirror. Then we have his durability, which just like every Godzilla besides 98, Godzilla really has pretty good durability, being able to withstand living in a volcano for 4 years and actually came out looking better than he did. Next we have his intelligence, and Heisei Godzilla has shown to be pretty intelligent, not as intelligent as Showa, but he's still pretty intelligent, being able to coordinate attacks and team up with other monsters, choose his will. But most of his fights are hand to hand, so that doesn't really matter. Now it's time for the battle, and who would win? During the battle, the main problem for Showa would be the height difference, making it harder for Showa to make damage to Heisei's skin with his jaws. But with his Atomic Breath, it would go differently. But who would win? Well, it is Showa Godzilla. With his high durability, power, and agility, it'd make it pretty hard for Heisei Godzilla to win, giving the win to Showa Godzilla. Hey everybody, and thanks for everyone for waiting a couple months for me to return. I kind of wanted to make some good videos, and I wanted to put lots of hard work and quality into them, so that's what I tried to do with this video. Thanks to Kaiju King for making this thumbnail, and as always, I'll see you guys next time. Bye. The Jurassic Park 3 Spinosaurus, one of the only dinosaurs in the Jurassic franchise capable of killing a modern-day T-Rex, and Jurassic World Dominions Giganotosaurus, another dinosaur capable of killing a T-Rex. These two have shown their incredible capabilities, but what if these two monsters fought? Well, we're going to answer that question today. Hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel, and today we're putting together two of the strongest dinosaurs in the Jurassic franchise. So this is my first Jurassic Park video, so if you guys want to see more like this video and comment some ideas. Now, let's get to it. Now, let's get to the stats for our contenders. Starting off with the Spinosaurus. For this video, we're going to be using the one from Jurassic Park 3, so if he's from Camp Cretaceous, or if he's in cast or haven't watched it yet, or cut content from Jurassic World movies are going to be featured. Spinosaurus, weighing in at 10 tons or 20,000 pounds, standing at a height of 20 feet tall, and having a length of 43.8 feet, and being known as the ruler of Helosaurida or Site B. The Spinosaurus has shown to have a strong jaw, showing its incredible strength, plus being able to show high intelligence to defeat the T-Rex, knowing to snap its neck. The Spinosaurus has shown its incredible speeds multiple times, especially in that one scene where he goes after the family. Giganotosaurus, weighing in at 9 tons or 18,078 pounds, standing at a height of 18.1 feet tall and having the length of 51 feet, and being the contender for the ruler of Bios and Grounds with its rival Rexy, the Tyrannosaur. Now onto its strengths. The Giganotosaurus has shown the ability to overpower a T-Rex and possibly kill one. Next, it has also shown that it's very territorial, being willing to fight anything for some territory. The Giga's skin is somewhat strong, having to take the force of Rexy pushing it into the Therizinosaurus just to be killed. Now that we know about our contenders, it's time for them to fight. Now for this video, I decided I wanted to tell the fight in kind of a story-like way, so let's get to it. A large truck drives through the entrance of the Biosyn headquarters and brings the sleeping Spinosaurus into the giant enclosure. As soon as the Spinosaurus touches the soft grass in its new home, the Giganotosaurus feels the presence of a new contender. The Giga watches over the sleeping Spino, noticing all its attack features, such as its claws, its jaws, and its height. Later, the Spino finally wakes up and thinks nothing of it. As the Biosyn enclosure is similar to the one of Sorna, it doesn't really notice that it's moved. Then, while the Spinosaurus is drinking some water, the Giganotosaurus appears out of nowhere, challenging the Spinosaurus for its territory. The bloodthirsty Spinosaurus accepts the clash. The two clash and their battle commences. With its strong durability, the Spinosaurus isn't really able to give any noticeable damage to the Giganotosaurus. With the two strong bite forces, there's only one really way for them to defeat each other, and that's the bite forces. But who won? Who proceeds to take over the Biosyn estate? As the ground sits quiet, then a loud stomp comes from the side. The Spinosaurus steps out of the tree line, holding the Giganotosaurus' head in its jaws. The Spinosaurus has won the fight and has become the strongest of the estate. Thanks to everyone who has waited this long for a video. Sorry it's taken a while, but I wanted to make these newer videos the best they can be. As you can see, I've kind of upgraded the videos already, and I hope to continue that with every single video after this. Thanks to X-Men for this week's thumbnail. Anyway, if y'all want to see some more Jurassic videos, comment some ideas, and I'll try to make some more videos on them. Maybe we'll get a Jurassic what if. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye. Monster Zero, or Monsterverse King Ghidorah, one of the strongest of the Monsterverse, being able to take down Godzilla multiple times in one film and the Showa era, home to some of the most underrated, strongest kaiju of the kaiju genre. So I decided to pin the two together. Hey everybody, welcome back to LizardBoyG. And before we get today's video, I wanted to acknowledge the gift from Goji fundraiser. I'm not connected to it anyway, but I decided to put this in the video, and I hopefully encourage you guys to donate. Gifts from Goji is a St. Jude's fundraiser to fundraise money for St. Jude Children's Hospital research to help save lives of kids in need. If you guys want to help make an impact, go to the video links below, and if you don't want to spend money, it's perfectly fine, as just by liking the video or sending to anyone can also help. Now, let's get to today's video. Starting off with the roster. King Ghidorah will be fighting, and again, if you guys have any suggestions for the roster, please comment them. So he'll be fighting Rodan, Anguirus, Jet Jaguar, Gigan, Megalon, Showa King Ghidorah, Mechagodzilla, and finally Godzilla himself. Now, let's go over King Ghidorah's ability. King Ghidorah's abilities consist of multiple things, so we're going to go over all of them. First is his gravity beams, which are basically super powerful thunderbolts. Ghidorah is also able to be very agile despite his large wings and body structure. Ghidorah is also super durable, being able to withstand multiple blows from Godzilla's atomic breath and having to take multiple nuclear pulses from thermonuclear to get killed. Finally is his regeneration, making it really hard to take down Ghidorah. Almost impossible. Now let's get Ghidorah's first fight, Rodan. Rodan's main power is his immense speed. Other than Rodan doesn't really have anything with abilities that could deal with Ghidorah, especially with his regeneration. So with all that, Rodan loses, being taken down by the False King. And Eurus has entered the battlefield, and as soon as he enters, he gets obliterated. Yeah, despite Eurus being one of the main goats of the Showa era, he does not make it far in fighting Ghidorah. So, Ghidorah continues. Jet Jaguar has been called to the scene, and unlike the others, he keeps an eye on Ghidorah before fighting him. Noticing all his features, the only way Jet Jaguar can really do damage is by jumping Ghidorah. But again, Jet Jaguar, despite how smart he can be, he isn't particularly powerful, not being able to handle Megalon alone, and having to get help from Godzilla to take him on. So, with all that knowledge, Jet goes down. Godzilla has now learned of Jet Jaguar's fall and has started heading towards Ghidorah's location, ready to fight him. Gigan has now landed and is first confused by Ghidorah's new actions, but still continues to fight him. As if you remember, Gigan and Ghidorah have fought together multiple times within the Showa era, so he is kind of confused on why Ghidorah is attacking. Gigan's claws would damage Ghidorah's skin, possibly cut off one of his heads, but despite all that, Ghidorah takes out Gigan easily. Megalon rises from the ground, ready to fight Ghidorah after hitting another punch. Megalon charges at Ghidorah but is struck down by Ghidorah's beams, taking him down. Now it's time for the three-headed False King to face his counterpart. This time the main struggle is going to be his electric beams, but still despite all that power, he will go down. Ghidorah has beaten Ghidorah out of pure power of his Monster vs. Ghidorah. Now it's time for the final fight, King Ghidorah versus Showa Godzilla. Godzilla has finally appeared to the battle scene after Jet Jaguar's death, and is here to fight Ghidorah. Now here's the thing, despite being named as one of the weakest Godzillas, his feats prove he is a strong opponent, capable of beating King Godzilla by the way. Ghidorah's main move that would help him in this thing would be his electric beams, which are capable of overpowering Godzilla's atomic breath. And now in the end, Ghidorah wins. Ghidorah has now conquered the Showa universe and proceeds to destroy the Earth. Everybody, and thanks for watching this video. This video was harder to make than others with finals coming next week. And I have, actually it's Thursday when I'm recording this, and I wouldn't be back till Saturday. So I had a shorter time to make this video. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed it, and thanks to me for making this week's thumbnail. And as always, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.
I don't want a lot for Christmas. There is just one thing I need. I don't care about the presents underneath the Christmas tree. I just want you for my own, more than you could ever.
Gemstone Godzilla, one of the coolest Godzillas of the Reiwa era, and Godzilla -1, another cool Godzilla from the Reiwa era. These two have shown some insane feats. So, what if these two fought? Hello everybody, and welcome to episode 1 of the LizardBoyG Christmas special. And today we're asking if Gemstone Godzilla and -1 fought. For today, I, B-Man Baja Blast, will be hosting today's episode. So let's get to it. First, let's go over Godzilla -1's feats. First is his atomic breath, which is shown to be one of the more powerful ones, resulting in a nuclear explosion when the beam hits. But the only downside is the charge up for the beam, taking a longer amount of time than other atomic breaths to usually be fired. -1 has also shown to be somewhat intelligent during the movie. He is also surprisingly agile, being able to move swiftly when needed, can travel at somewhat good speed in water, but doesn't really travel fast on land. Now, here comes the hard part Gemstone is going to be having to deal with, the regeneration. -1's regeneration is powerful, like overly powerful, having to had him get blown up to finally die. And even after that, he was still alive with his heart, meaning that for Gemstone to defeat -1, he would have to completely get rid of -1, like bones and all. Now, let's get to Gemstone's stats. Gemstone is shown to have amazing durability, being able to withstand being thrown around and battled by Gigan Rex and Megalon throughout the 2 short films. Next is Godzilla's atomic breath, which is shown to be very powerful, and just like -1's has the capability of causing an explosion when it impacts something, and is super powerful. Godzilla is also capable of firing a nuclear pulse, kind of like MonsterVerse is shown in Godzilla x Kong during the France scene. He can also transfer his energy to other parts of his body, like transferring all of his energy into his fists to give a powerful impact. Gemstone is also able to go into his special state, where he basically just becomes more powerful than he already is. Now let's get to the fight itself. The main struggle for Gemstone is going to be -1's atomic breath, specifically the impact it can give. But luckily for Gemstone, he doesn't really have to worry about that because of the warm-up needed for -1 to fire the beam, as Gemstone would easily be able to dodge the attack. But -1's fears are going to be many things, specifically the atomic breath, the power transfer, and the special state. Now, even though Gemstone Godzilla could really be able to destroy -1, the regeneration is going to be the main problem, as it would have to take Gemstone to destroy everything of -1. But would he win? Yes. Despite -1's insane regeneration, Gemstone is smart enough to know to destroy all of -1. So, Gemstone wins. Hello everybody, and thanks for watching today's video. There will be another video tomorrow, but instead of me voicing it, Dinozilla 2009 will. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of the Christmas special, and if you like, go subscribe by using the link in the description, and enjoy the holidays, and Merry Christmas. Goodbye.
I don't want a lot for Christmas. There is just one thing I need. I don't care about the presents underneath the Christmas tree. I just want you for my own, more than you could ever.
What's up, guys? The Gorgosaurus here. So, we said that this episode was supposed to be hosted by Dino, but he got busy, so I'm doing it instead. So, let's do it. Shimo. One of the strongest current MonsterVerse, and probably the strongest in history. But in the recent years of the MonsterVerse, a new titan has arrived. Monster Zero, or King Ghidorah. Well, which one is stronger? That's what we're going to be finding out today. So, let's get into it. First, let's get to Shimo's feats and abilities. Shimo was able to take a fully supercharged Evolve Atomic Breath to the neck, with little to no effect, and is able to throw Godzilla Evo across the entire city of Rio. Now let's get into the abilities. First is here Frost Breath, capable of giving frostbite and freezing stuff in seconds. Along with her Frost Breath, she can freeze stuff by just being near it. Shimo is also very strong and durable, having to take Godzilla to evolve just to take her on. And she again is able to throw Godzilla across Rio just by her feet. Now let's get into Ghidorah. Ghidorah has sane regeneration, taking just seconds to regenerate his head. Then we have the gravity beams that are super powerful and can be amped by anything holding electricity. He has also shown to be super strong, being able to take down on a current day Godzilla multiple times. Ghidorah is also super durable on top of having regeneration, so now we know all of this, let's get into the battle itself. Ghidorah's main weakness towards Shimo is going to be her ice powers. You've seen in the films, the King of the Monsters, Ghidorah was in close encounter. This can be seen to be a weakness towards Ghidorah's regeneration, as possibly freezing. Ghidorah could stop the regeneration in some way. For Shimo, her main weakness is going to be Ghidorah's pure strength that comes with his size, possibly giving them an equal fight. Without powers, but with powers, the outcome is different in the end. Shimo takes down Ghidorah, resulting in Shimo winning. Shimo will be able to take down Ghidorah on her own, but topping the capping off his regeneration is just going to be another stab at it. So in the result, Shimo wins the battle. Hello everybody, thanks for watching another video, but before this video ends, I wanted to let you guys know the schedule for the rest of the Christmas special. So starting off tomorrow, Sunday, we got a video made by Purely Dino and Boogie, being Can Snow Godzilla Survive the Heisei Era? Then on Monday, we have a What If special called What If Kong Died in GXK? Then on Tuesday, we have Can Shimo Survive the Monsterverse Part 1? And then finally on Christmas, we have Part 2, also Godzilla What If. We'll be hosting its 3-part finale in the morning of Christmas, as we call it What If Dagon Survived and Entered the Monsterverse. Anyways, I'm happy you guys enjoyed today's video, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.
I don't want a lot for Christmas. There is just one thing I need. I don't care about the presents underneath the Christmas tree. I just want you for my own, more than you could ever.
Hello everyone, Dinosaur here, and we are talking about probably one of the most unknown Godzillas, and he's not even from a Godzilla movie. He's from Shikakansen Hakiai Robo Shikatalion, the movie where he was fighting some of the mechas, and they do defeat him in the movie. So, we are going to see how far Snow Godzilla can survive Heisei era. But first, let's talk about this. Let's go over his feats first. His atomic breath, and it's a mix of yellow and blue and white colors, and it is powerful. Then he has his snow breath, is where he fires a blast of air and snow. For durability, when they shoot explosives at him, it did no effect. The rest of the attacks they shot at Godzilla also didn't. For the roar, he uses the Showa Godzilla roars for all of them. The design, he looks like Godzilla 1999 to 1994, but he has snow all over him, from his head to tail, and he has yellow eyes. His dorsal splits are light blue and white. For his height, he is 118.5 meters, and in feet, that is 388 feet tall. And now, let's see how far Snow Godzilla goes through the Heisei era. Starting at Godzilla 1984, in Godzilla 1984, he fights the Super X, and the Super X has missiles, and it can survive Godzilla's atomic breath, and it did kill Godzilla before he got revived. So I think Snow Godzilla would survive, because he would freeze the Super X, and then he would destroy it so far. Godzilla vs. Biollante, he would go to Biollante first form, he would beat it, and they would fight Snow Godzilla, winning. Then he fights Super X2. He destroys it with a couple of atomic breaths, and then we get to Biollante, final form. And Snow Godzilla wins mid-diff. He would freeze Biollante and use his atomic breath. For Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah, everything goes mostly the same until Snow Godzilla fights Ghidorah, where he kills Ghidorah and then he fights Mecha King Ghidorah. He stops at Mecha King Ghidorah. He would be able to kill him with his attacks and beams, so that's where he stops. And Dinozilla here, and goodbye.
I don't want a lot for Christmas. There is just one thing I need. I don't care about the presents underneath the Christmas tree. I just want you for my own, more than you could ever.
Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of the LizardBoyG Christmas Special. Today we're doing something different. Today we're doing a full-length Godzilla What If episode. So let's get to it. Welcome back to Godzilla What If, where we ask what if something else took place in your favorite kaiju media. Today we're asking what if Kong died during the events of GXK. So let's get to it. Location: Hollow Earth, Kong Sector. Date: 2027. Kong runs through the Hollow Earth as he's being chased down by a group of wart dogs. Kong continues to the mountains, and he jumps over a ravine, until the wart dogs join him, and they continue through the mountain. Eventually, Kong reaches the edge and pushes his last move. Kong pulls a log, and the wart dogs are smashed to the ground, revealing an empty cave. Kong decides to jump in, and reveals a ginormous pocket in the Hollow Earth. Kong, puzzled, adventures until he is jumped by a bunch of apes and Zuko. Kong takes them all down and saves Zuko. The two team up and continue to the new empire. Location: Hollow Earth, Scar Kingdom. Date: 2027. Kong and Zuko make their way to the Scar Kingdom. The scene plays out the same though throughout the movie. Then we get to the final battle where it all changes. Kong and Godzilla make their way to the Hollow Earth, where they begin their fight with Scar King and Shimo. The gravity is then turned off and the war begins. Godzilla takes off a bunch of the apes and Shimo as Kong fights Scar King. Then the gravity is turned back on and they make their way to Shimo. And they make their way to the portals. The fight continues in Rio until the two part, where Godzilla is fighting Scar King and Kong is fighting Shimo. Shimo rams Kong into the ground. Kong tries to get out of Shimo's hold until snap. Kong's neck snaps after Shimo steps on it, killing Kong. Zuko, who has now made it to the top of the earth, sees Shimo kill Kong, and he runs over to save him. Scar King kicks Godzilla in the face, and he grabs the shard that controls Shimo. Scar King tells her to kill Godzilla. Godzilla then charges his supercharged again, and he hits Scar King, putting a hole in him. Scar King falls to the ground and dies. Godzilla, now thinking he won, gets jumped by Shimo. Shimo throws Godzilla around the city. Then, Zuko grabs the shard and smashes it with the axe, blowing it up. Shimo stops, and Godzilla stops too. Godzilla clears the skies, and in the end, Zuko and Shimo arrive back in the Hollow Earth without a new king. In the end, Godzilla goes back to sleeping, and the apes begin to separate and live on throughout the Hollow Earth. Now, there is another possible ending where instead Shimo kills Godzilla, and then the world just goes into danger without the King of the Monsters. But that's just another what if. Hello everybody, and thanks for watching the special of Godzilla What If. Tomorrow is Christmas Eve, and we'll be premiering the first part of the Christmas finale. I hope to see you all there. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.
I don't want a lot for Christmas. There is just one thing I need. I don't care about the presents underneath the Christmas tree. I just want you for my own, more than you could ever.
Hello everybody, and welcome back to the LizardBoyG Christmas Special. And it's the second to last episode of the special, and it's Christmas Eve. So, let's make this one special. I split this final video into two parts, this part and tomorrow. Also, tomorrow there will be a 3-part Godzilla What If episode releasing throughout the day. And, yeah, so let's get into the Christmas Eve special. Shimo, the Winter Kaiju, or known as the Queen of the Monsters, said to be one of the strongest of the Monsterverse. So I decided to see, for this Christmas special, how would she deal against going against her own universe. So I decided to go very in-depth with each battle, so that's how it kind of became a part 2. So, my bad. Now here are the Titans Shimo will be taking on in this video. In order of that I'll be going. Zuko, Scylla, Tiamat, the Mutos, Ronan, Scar King, Kong, Mechagodzilla, King Ghidorah, and finally, Evolved Godzilla. Now that we know the roster, let's get to the abilities of Shimo. Now, before we can begin, we need to go over Shimo's abilities she can perform, starting off with her Ice Breath. Shimo holds the power of an Ice Breath, capable of completely freezing things and giving them frostbite, just like she did the Kong. Along with this, just by her presence alone, she can freeze the ground in an instant, which it takes around negative 13 degrees to actually perform. Her strength. Shimo has shown to be really strong within the movie, being able to throw Godzilla across Rio with just her feet, and be able to fling Kong with just her tail. Durability. Now it's time for her durability. Shimo shows amazing durability during her fights with Godzilla and Kong within the movie. For example, during the Rio fight, she's taking on evolved Godzilla's tongue straight to her neck and without even flinching. Okay, now that we know all about Shimo, let's get to the actual battles themselves. Shimo's decided to go ahead and take on the entire monsterverse. So, let's begin that task. She begins to head her way out of the Hollow Earth, but on her way, she finds Suko in her way, sent by Skarking in an attempt to stop her from escaping, as the shard has stopped working. So, Suko gets off and slowly finds Shimo making her way to the Hollow Earth portal. Suko launches in for an attack with a knife, but is quickly thrown away by Shimo's tail. Even if Suko decided to take a different approach and probably slowly approach her, Shimo would still been able to kill him very easily. So, now it's time for Shimo to get up. Shimo gets to the overworld and eventually is approached by another kaiju. Shimo, who is now in the overworld, has met face to face with Scylla, who is somehow alive after the events of GXK, so yeah. Anyway, Shimo's main problem was going to be Scylla's fast speeds. But luckily for Shimo, Scylla is really weak. Like, it only took base Godzilla one atomic breath to blow them up. So, Shimo could just easily freeze Scylla. Now that Scylla has been defeated, Tiamat has noticed that Shimo's appeared. So, Tiamat begins her route to Shimo. Tiamat has found Shimo and has engaged the fight in the sea. Shimo, despite not being the smartest in the monsterverse, she will still use most of her reasonable way to kill the fish. And that's by freezing them. Yeah, Shimo's just gonna freeze the water, which will cut off Tiamat's gills from getting any air, or bubbles, or however breathing or water works with gills, and it would easily kill Tiamat. So, now it's time for her to commence her next challenge, the Mutos from Godzilla 2014. The female Muto and the male Muto are back at it again, and they're ready to take down Shimo, the queen of the monsters. The Muto's main problem in the fight is again going to be Shimo's Ice Breath, for both the male and the female. The main power the female Muto had against Godzilla in 2014 was her immense size and strength. But, as you can see, Shimo can easily overpower her just by her size alone. Then, for the male Muto, there's no way to get out of Shimo's Ice Breath alone. So, Shimo continues to the next fight, being Rodan. Shimo has now met Rodan, but for Shimo, Rodan is really hot, specifically his temperature. Not his looks, if you're wondering. No! You can see that Rodan lives in a volcano, meaning he can survive the intense temperature. But that doesn't necessarily mean he could survive immense low temperatures. But do you want to know what else is low? The low taper. Anyway, another thing that can help Rodan in his fights against Shimo is the massive wings. But Shimo would still be able to defeat him with her knowledge. Now that Shimo has defeated many kaiju, Skarking has decided to take on Shimo himself, and possibly steal another shard off her back to control her once again. Skarking has made his way back to Shimo, and has started his fight with Shimo. But it doesn't really take very long. Skarking charges in and uses his whip to deal damage against Shimo. As Shimo begins charging her frozen breath, Skarking jumps on her back with his fast speeds and wraps the chain around her neck, and begins choking her. But with Shimo's pure strength, she's easily able to knock Skarking off, and the fight continues. And the winner continues to be...
I want a lot for Christmas. There is just one thing I need. I don't care about the presents underneath the Christmas tree. I just want you for my own, more than you could ever.
Hello everybody and Merry Christmas. It's Christmas Day and it's finally time for part 2 of seeing how far Shima would make it into the Monsterverse. Now before we get started, I want to say that the 3-parted Godzilla What If finale is releasing today as well, and there will be 3 new announcements on the Lizard Productions channel. Now that we got that out of the way, let's get started. Shima has killed Scar King. With Shima's immense strength and durability, it would have made it almost impossible for Scar King to defeat Shima. So, she continues. Now it is time for Shima's hardest challenge, Kong. Now, this battle already happened in GXK, and we learned that Kong is very vulnerable to Shima's breath, giving him immense frostbite in his hands so badly he had to wear a glove for the rest of the movie. So, it's obvious that Kong loses. Now it's time for the next battle, being Mechagodzilla. Shimo now has gonna go up against the mechanized clone Mechagodzilla. Now for this battle, Shimo's breath is literally gonna be doing nothing against Mechagodzilla, because, well, he can't feel pain, and ice would not affect him in the slightest. But Shimo's pure size and power alone could go hand to hand against Mechagodzilla. But in the end, Mechagodzilla falls to Shimo, and Shimo continues to the Hydra, King Ghidorah.
And he's not meant to be here.
A false
Now, if you remember, we already did a video on this topic on who would win between the two. So if you'd like a more in-depth look at this fight, then go watch that one. But if you've already seen it, then you would know that Shimo takes down Ghidorah using her ice breath, which has been shown to be a weakness to Ghidorah being frozen in the beginning of Godzilla King of the Monsters. So, Shimo continues to the final challenge, the King of the Monsters himself. It's time for Shimo to take on the King of the Monsters himself, Godzilla. Godzilla was alerted by all the other Titans being taken down, and has arrived to take down Shimo. Now, Evolved Godzilla's main problem is going to be Shimo's ice breath, but with Godzilla's new fast movements shown in GXK, his new atomic breath, and his supercharged form, he can be able to stop it. But Shimo's strong durability and strength, it would make it harder for Godzilla to win, or to even do damage in the first place. As we would see in the movie, Shimo can easily throw Godzilla, but who would win? Could Shimo survive the Monsterverse? Godzilla standing all alone. All the other Titans have been taken down by the mother of all Titans, and Godzilla's the last one left. And, in the end, Shimo kills the King of the Monsters. Shimo has now taken the throne and now roams the earth as the strongest. The end. Hey everybody, and thanks for watching the Christmas special. I plan to combine all the videos and release it as a collection video at the end of the year, as well as every single battle video I've made. Also, the 3-parted Godzilla What If finale will release today as well, and if you guys want to see that also, go watch it. I also announced 3 new projects for the Lizard Productions channel, so if you want to go look at those as well, go ahead. Now, I hope you guys had a Merry Christmas, or, well, we're going to have because it's released in the morning, and I hope you enjoy your Christmas day. Anyway, I'll see you guys next time. Test, test. The Drowned Viper. Able to catch Kong by surprise and temporarily hold him down, the Drowned Viper is one of the crazier types of monsters part of the Hollow Earth. And Manda, the original snake-like swimming thing. These two are very similar. So, what if they got in a fight? Hello everybody, and welcome back to the fighting videos. I wanted to try and do them again, so here we are. For this video, our 2 contestants are the Drowned Viper and Manda. But first, before they fight, let's get to their abilities. The Drowned Viper. making its appearance in Godzilla X Kong the New Empire. With very little screen time, this does not help the drowned viper in the fight at all, limiting the knowledge we know about it. But here's everything we got about him. First up is its constriction. Using its lengthy snake-like body, the drowned viper is able to constrict its opponents with its body, and being able to suffocate them with its strong hold on them. Second is its speed. In the film, the drowned viper was easily able to maneuver and dodge incoming attacks from Kong, and even able to get the upper hand on him and comprehend the Titan. Third is its stealth. The Viper shows an amazing level of stealth, being able to get super close to Kong without even noticing him, until it rose out of the water and got the upper hand on him. Now it's time for the drowned viper's weaknesses. Or, well, its just main one, and its super sharp things. As in GSK, the fight between the drowned viper and Kong barely lasted minutes, as Kong easily used his axe to slice through the viper and kill it. And this was the axe at base form without any power boosters, showing that despite its intense speed and stealth, the drowned viper is not incredibly durable. Now it's time for Manda. For Manda, we're going to be using the Wikizilla's abilities page to help determine their attacks and such, because throughout the entire time of her screen time, there's barely little we know about it. So we're all just combining it into one Manda. So let's get to it. First up is that unlike the drowned viper, Manda actually has arms that help it swim, and can be used as attacks as well, slicing and slashing with its claws. Second is its constriction, as just like the drowned viper, Manda is able to constrict its opponents with its lengthy body. Third is fire powers. Yeah, so apparently in the Godzilla video games that are super old, Manda could use fireballs and fire breath as an attack against other monsters. So, yeah, I guess Manda can do that too. Now, its weakness is the cold, which can be used to constrain them and easily destroy them with one slash. So, if the drowned viper is able to freeze Manda, which not, because there's no ice powers with the drowned viper, Manda could easily be broken. So, yeah, now let's get to the fight. Now it's time for the fight. So who would win between these two opponents? Well, combining all the information between the two, Manda comes out on top. Using its new gained fire abilities mixed with the drowned viper's low durability, the fire could easily harm the creature. Then, mixed with Manda's arms and strong speeds, Manda could easily slash through and cut down the drowned viper. So, in the end, Manda comes out on top. Hey everybody, and thanks for watching. If you guys want to see some more videos like this, or like some more battle ideas, or videos in general, comment them below. Also, thanks for X-Men for this week's thumbnail, and as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.